Blender 3D, how to make and connect wires. Hello everyone, my name is John Capobianco. I'm not a professed Blender expert by any means, but through my open source development on how to take network state information from a computer network, and turn it into the 3D world of Blender, I've discovered a few things along the way, including how to make wires, which is relatively simple as we'll see, and then how to connect the two ends of the wires from other objects in the Blender, really making a connected wire between two things. So I don't know that we need the whiteboard to describe that further, but what I'm going to do is place a couple of NICs, objects that look like network interface ports, right? So they kind of have the teeth here and a gap for where the wire goes in. And I'm just going to put them side by side like this. Now, can I make a wire, a 3D wire that connects the two objects? That's our goal. And it's actually pretty straightforward on how to do this. Let's give it a shot and let's see how this goes. I'm going to go full screen here. And this is our default cube here. Let's leave the light, but we don't need a camera or the cube. And let's go ahead, and I have a couple of network cards. I'm going to link an object here from another, where is it? Objects. I have a network interface card. And there, that looks pretty good. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a proxy of this so we can adjust its location and stuff. So we go into relations, make proxy, OK. We can unlink the first NIC now as we have the proxy. And let's copy and paste this, and let's call the first one left NIC. NIC, not nice. It is pretty nice. And right NIC. And let's grab the right NIC and press G and then X just to move it over here, and then we'll do G, X, and move that over here. So we have a left and a right NIC. Let's bring them further apart. Whoops, G, X. Let's just put them, quite far apart. All right, so now how do we add and create a wire? Well, it's pretty straightforward. We press Shift A, and what we want is a curve and a circle. Just a simple circle that appears right there in the middle. Now that we have our circle, we're going to press Shift A and add another curve, but this one being a Bezier. Now, let's just leave it there in the center, but what we're going to do on the Bezier curve, and let's just call this, what did I call it, wire? Router wire. All right, let's call it router wire. And we can, don't worry about the circle. Now in the router wire, what we want to do is come into the object data properties and find the geometry and the bevel. Now we don't want it to be round, we want it to be the object of the circle. And look at, now our curve, our router wire, looks like a big fat tube. So let's pick the circle, press S to scale it, and let's make this look more like a wire. Now how big are our NICs? Maybe that's a little small for the wire. Let's scale it up just a little bit. Okay, now we can affect the quality of this wire, and let's hide the circle. We're done with that for now, and let's maybe make the wire metallic and with a sheen, and I don't know, we can figure out the color later. Let's make it a nice hot pink wire. How about that? Make it a nice hot pink wire. Okay, so now when we look at it here, it's a nice hot pink wire that has some sheen and it's metallic looking. Okay, great. Now the important and the fun stuff. How do we connect the two ends? And I'm going to do something. If I press the Tab key into Edit, you notice how there's a point here and another point here. And I'm not going to save this, but I can click on that, press G, and adjust this wire. Okay? Now I could manually drag each end, but that's no fun. Let's do it programmatically. So what I'm going to do is open up my text editor here. And let's change this to the text editor. And let's, what we need to do is make a new file. And we'll just call this wire.py. And we're going to import BPY because we need Blender Python. And now I'm not great enough at this to do this off the top of my head. So let me just grab a line of code, a couple lines of code real quick, and we'll bring it in here. Now, before we do anything with the code, and let's comment those out, well, let's look at the object, at the wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to print something here on the screen in Python print, and let's print the splines. So let's toggle window, toggle system console, and let's print the splines. So I press the button, and what we get is this memory object. So there is a spline there. Well, let's go deeper and grab the Bezier points 0 of the spline, and this will give us another memory address deeper down. Now, let's get the .co, the coordinates of that spline. So this is the router wire, and what we get is a vector. And if we look at this wire, if I pick, whoops, I'm still in tab. If I pick the wire and go to the objects, that spline over there is XYZ minus 1, 0, 0. So in theory, and now let's do the same, except now let's look at Bezier point 1, and it should be different. And it is different. It's 1, 0, 0. So those are the two ends. Now, Pythonically, we can point those to what? Well, let's print a different object, and let's just print this. All right, so what we're going to print now is the left nick object, location X. And that ran, and we get minus 18, and then the float. Okay, and now we can do, well, the Y and the Z. So those are three values we can set to the vector. So let's go ahead and try it. And all I've done is taken what I've just printed on the screen on the left and right side of the equals. So let's set the router wire spline 0, Bezier point 0 coordinates to the left nicks X, Y, and Z. And then let's set Bezier point 1 to the X, Y, Z of the right nick. Now, I don't know. I've never done this live. Let's hit play. And look at, we have connected our two objects with our wire. Pretty neat. And if we turn on the view here, we have a nice shiny pink wire. Pretty cool. Let's take off the mesh. No, let's take off the mesh. Pretty neat, right? Now, it looks like it's connecting dead center. If I put the mesh on, you see where the ends of the pipes are ending up? So maybe, let's turn our axes back on here. And maybe we can do a little bit of math, Pythonically. So this is the y-axis. Maybe we could do y minus 1? I don't know. And move it to the front of the nick? So let's try that. I've never done that, but let's try it. So we're going to find the y, BPY. Okay, so we have comma here. So let me put this in brackets and say minus 1, minus 1. Is that going to work? And then the same here, minus 1 here, excuse me. I don't know. Haha, look at it. It did move it. It's not far enough. Let's try 2. Pretty close. And the wire straightens out, eh? You see that? So what, 3? 3 might do it, maybe 4. I don't know. 3.5. I mean, we're getting there, right? It looks like it's going to be 4. You get the idea, though, right? That we can post their connection. There we go. And then if we turn that on, it's sort of in the center of the connection there. Pretty neat. Now, I think, and I don't know, I think if I turn on the animation and I move them around, I hit play, and I grab this. Oh, I see. It's just an animation. It's not going to let me do that. Okay. Well, what if I grab one of these and press G? Oh, I see. It doesn't work dynamically. I would need to do that in an animation or something and have the Python constantly running. But if I move it, let's say I want to put one, here and one here instead of left and right, up and down. I think if I just run the Python now, it should automatically adjust them and reconnect them. So thank you for joining me. That's a very simple video. I kind of went on a little bit with the adjusting, but that's fine. I wanted to give you a sense that we make a circle, we make a Bezier. Set the Bezier curve geometry property, the bevel, to the object of the circle. Adjust the size of the circle to make the wire thickness that you'd like. Add a material if you want it shiny or pink or whatever, like we've done. Then we use the Python API to get into the object properties. And again, we set the Bezier curve 0 and 1 for the left and right end of the wire to match the X, Y, Z of our object. In this case, Nix. Run the Python. Wires connect. Thanks so much. I hope that you can find a way to use this. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me on Twitter, John_Capobianco. My Merlin project is available on GitHub, github.com/automateyournetwork/Merlin3D. Thanks again. Stay safe. Please get vaccinated.